Yo, what's going on, everyone? I'm gonna start doing trading recap videos to document the journey. It's been a tougher month for me personally. I think I'm realizing some of the pitfalls in my strategy, which is completely fine. It's part of the game. Um, and so I think these sort of logs will be good accountability kind of situations. So I'm just gonna launch Thinkorswim here. I use this for my charting. I'll be using this to kind of talk about what I saw. Okay, so the first trade I took today was IMNN. This was actually a long. I'll explain what I was seeing. Right when I was kind of looking at this was kind of the price action I was seeing. So steady sort of uptrend. The news looked pretty bullish. New data from phase two. As it was looking, this sort of Gaussian moving average was holding at around 126, 125. I noticed that level two looked kind of strong. Bid wasn't really selling off. This sort of level here was holding pretty well. So I went long on that. It ended up popping up a little bit, couple cents, and then sold off. And then as it wasn't, making higher highs, I decided to just close my position. I was sort of playing the break above 144, but I noticed that 135 was showing resistance on the opening candle, and so I just took off the position. I went ahead and restarted my computer since I was getting some lag. But basically, as soon as I saw that higher highs weren't being, like the trend wasn't continuing right away at this point, I went ahead and got out. And you see here, there was like some chop. I ended up like sort of trending downwards, I guess, in this consolidation. Um, so yeah, I think I got out at a good time. I did notice this sort of area here was sort of consolidating and there was another push up. I do think this would have been like a good long opportunity. The fact that 1.06 was holding. If I was paying attention to level 2, might have gone long there. But the thing is, a lot of the time, these can just consolidate like this and then break down another like 15%. And then with slippage, you're just kind of getting fucked unless you have hard stops. So that was IMNN. I netted $0 with a high of 30. So I guess that's fine. Paid some commission, so I guess I lost there. LTRY. Think I kind of nailed the entry here. The problem was the exit. So moving to LTRY. I ended up taking the short sort of as soon as I saw the pop here into pre-market resistance. I did a starter position. My first entry looks like was around 2.2. In these situations, I don't really have like hard um, stop loss when I'm doing a starter position because if we look at the yearly, this is getting shorted on every pop. I looked at the last 20 days, saw it was breaking out, but it didn't look like the momentum was that strong, especially since previous day we had more volume. So I had a short bias here at this level, especially when I saw it getting rejected a little bit. So I took my initial position at 2.2, and I was only about $1,000 short here. So I started popping up some more and then added to my position. I added at 2.4. And so I was in a drawdown of about 200 bucks as this was pushing higher, but stayed patient. After I saw this break here, I was like, okay, this is gonna sell off most likely. Like the candlestick pattern, we have a close under the indecision here. This is a bullish candle, but the fact that we were, chopping and not pushing higher to above 2.6, I figured we were gonna sell off. There was resistance showing at 2.4, and it ended up cracking. At this point here, when I noticed this sort of jump up about 6%, I figured we might chop and retest highs. So around here, I was getting a little bit nervous. I had like a net profit, so I covered some of my position here, and then after the jump up, as it was still sort of chopping around, I ended up covering the rest of my position because my average cost at this point was around 228. And I didn't really like the risk to reward here. I would have been risking 2.6-ish, and I would have had a profit target if we look at previous resistance of like 188. So it's like kind of 1-to-1 there. And I didn't think it was worth holding for a potential drawdown. If I add here and it breaks out more, I end up taking a loss. So I ended up just covering. This one in retrospect, huge red candle, and it broke to sort of to 1.9. I had a buy order at 2.11. So this one was the only one which I think I didn't trade the best because of the crackdown. Of course, that's in retrospect, but I didn't really like my risk to reward here. If I'm like looking to take most of my profits at open, like the opening price, it's just too much risk giving up profits back with the average cost that I had. Would have been good to add sort of up here, but I did think it might squeeze more, so I was expecting to add a little bit higher and didn't reach that, and then we never really got a quick retest so that I could add into that. Either way, closed with a profit of looks like 26 bucks. The best exit would have been at 92 bucks, and then I had a pretty substantial drawdown there. So, okay trade. I think I got out at an okay time. I would have definitely made a good profit if I held instead of covering all my position there. Also traded SGBX. This one was a lot better. The breakdown happened a lot quicker. So we see here, if we just pull it up, so first position was at 0.749. So right about here on SGBX. Saw this was breaking out. If we look at the chart here, we have resistance around here. No news on the day, which is why I was bearish on this. This is a sub-dollar stock. Yearly pops get shorted. So I had short bias here. And looking at how this played out, I think I played it pretty well. So I started my short position at 746, added at zero point 0.8. I was looking to continue to add to this because I thought that one would be a hard resistance point. Most of these stocks under $1 will reach some sort of resistance around $1 a share. So I started a position here. I was looking to get like a max size of like 5,000 and continuing to average into this. 747 was first entry, around zero point 0.8 was my second entry. We had a drawdown of about $267. As this pushed up to like not the nines, I was thinking about adding, but I ultimately didn't. I think I had an order at zero point 0.9 after I saw it get rejected, anticipating a retest. It never got there and ended up cracking and going down, which is fine. So as this was cracking down, I just sort of scaled out of the position. I should have held a little bit longer. As this was coming back up, I just, was like, whatever, I'll get out of this and just focus on other trades. But this one played pretty nicely. The initial indecision here made me think that this was gonna dump. It pushed higher and then sold off quite a bit. This was like a, let's see, like a 8% sell-off and then push one more time. This didn't show like price action that made me think that the bid kept stepping up and holding. And then during these like pullbacks, there was a flush of orders on the bid. So I knew that this wouldn't be one that I would be stuck in forever and it just keeps breaking out, breaking out. The one that really screwed me over was SYTA. This one has this sort of action where bid will not drop, and it got me pretty bad on, I think it was this day, Tuesday, where it just keeps grinding up very slowly. Um, so SGBX, not the same position, not the same situation. It worked out well. But yeah, so closed at about $180 on the day. Could have squeezed out a couple more if I held sort of towards the end of the day. But overall, I think I traded this well. Then we had PMAX, which I think I traded pretty well. Oh, that's weird. Did I actually close this for a loss? I don't remember losing money on this. I'm gonna double check. I might have. Oh, I think my orders might not have come in right. Oh, you know what? Did they come in as separate trades? Okay, they did. So the round trip here looks like was a loss. So we'll talk through this. I thought they would all be combined on the same chart. But looks like by the time I got out of this, it was a loss. So first entry was here at about 526. I saw some resistance, as you can see here. There was divergence on the chart. This is the 1 minute, but if we just pull up PMAX. So this, let's see, I entered for the first candle at 526. So we see this sort of indecision here. This candle looks pretty bearish, but you see it keeps grinding up. So 526. I think it was right about here when I was like starting my short position. 657. Okay, yeah, so right about 7 o'clock. Start my short position there. And then I saw it break out again, and then there was more indecision. So it breaks out, I start seeing the resistance at around 5.8 and I short again. And then I get a decent average of around, I think it was 5.4. And then on this sort of breakdown, I covered a good portion of the position. And then I was thinking of risking high of day at that point and then adding as we got close to it. So we got close to it, I added, but we ended up sort of breaking out. So I said if it hits point 0.6, I'm just going to cover my whole position and then re-enter higher. And it hit there, and then I covered. Um, as we'll see here on the second entry, this was a lot better. I saw that it wasn't really pushing higher. So I ended up re-entering at that 5.9. And then we see we climbed a little bit to 6.1, but then it failed again. And then I just sold off into this sort of dump, ended up covering the rest of the position here. So this worked out a lot better trade, and that's why I ended up net positive on PMAX. LTRY. This was an accidental order. I had that buy order I said that I put at 2-1. I forgot to cancel. So it executed and then I just quickly got out of it because I was not interested at all in holding this after this red candle. So I lost $5. Silly mistake. I need to cancel those orders. Um, Devs, I think I played pretty well. I kind of sniped the top here and covered nicely. Anytime I saw sort of support or regaining, I was like, let me just cover a little bit of my position. If we go to devs, this ended up breaking out higher, so I think I shorted at a good time. I started to see this popping, no news, and so I was like, this looks like a good short. We see RSI was overextended. The Bollinger Bandwidth was showing extension, and so I started looking to short. So my first position was at 5.6, which is right about here. So I took my short here. It ends up going up to 5.9, hits 6.1. but I am holding at this point, just kind of waiting for the dump because, the highs always kind of get shorted for this one. All of these have that sort of similar situation. So anytime there's like no news, I'll start building a small position. It ends up cracking pretty fast, so I covered a good portion of my position into that. And then at this point, I'm risking high of day, looking to enter close to that. So I entered again on this wick up. You see here at 5.8. Now I have a bit of a better average cost. And then start covering into these places where I see that support is forming. Anytime I see support where it's like level two, there's no selling on the bid, or there is selling and bids just holding, I just go ahead and cover a little bit of the position. And I'm trying to ride these all the way down until basically what the opening price was. Quick water break. This ended up popping up, so I think I got out kind of at a good point. You'll see here that the max I was down was 44 bucks, and I closed for 180. So this one sniped the entry well. I'm noticing for like my trades, a lot of the time I am getting like a decent entry. The problem is the drawdowns. For all of these trades, I'm pretty sure my max position size never reached more than 2,000. The max exposure I'll take is like 5,000, sometimes 10 if I have strong conviction. So the fact that I was able to squeeze out like 380 um, in commissions, or sorry, 380 in profits without ever reaching that, I think is pretty good. Um, so yeah, that's today's trade recap. I think I did well today. I think the cutting PMAX was a good idea and looking for the re-entry. I'm trying to get better at that. I think that's my biggest problem right now is cutting on breakouts because those can just squeeze and squeeze, especially on these penny stocks. So thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful for anyone, and peace.